prosecutor, he's playing politics with this. I mean, clearly he knows better. He taught constitutional law, the president did. So the precedent, as Eric Holder mentioned, was set in 1803, Marbury versus Madison, allows the Supreme Court to review laws passed by Congress and signed by the president. And it's nothing new. I mean, they can review to see if the laws are constitutional, which they're doing with the health care law right now.
Well, you have to kind of wonder what's going on here. The president must be very frustrated. At one point, he said that he's just going to bypass Congress. And, well, he did. You know, it was. I think it was just said in frustration. But here we are, trying to push the Supreme Court to go his way on the health care law. What do you think about all this?
I think, well, first of all, he can't bypass Congress, and secondly, I think he was disappointed by the way the arguments went. If you looked at the questions the judges asked, it's clear that they're leaning towards finding the individual mandate, unconstitutional. And so I think his response is, well, the Supreme Court's out of line, they can't do that. He knows better. They can review laws, that's what they do. It's judicial review is what it's called, and they can review laws to see if they're constitutional or not. We can't pass a law and have it signed into law. If it's unconstitutional, it's unconstitutional. And that's the role of the Supreme Court. They're an independent branch of government. It's basically Government 101 that we teach our kids in grade school.
Congressman, let's talk about the battle between the House budget and the Obama budget. It seems like both sides are really making this a presidential campaign issue, obviously. Both sides believing it's a debate they can win.
This is going to be, I think, the defining issue in the campaign in the fall. The president's going to use this divisive sort of class warfare issue. We're going to be honest and responsible in terms of the fact that our budget actually balances the budget. His budget does not. His budget actually was struck down unanimously on the House floor, by the way. The Democrats didn't even support it. If you look at the spending curve, his spends astronomically into the future. We bring spending down. And for the first time, I think we take the responsible role of trying to reform entitlements to save them. The president does nothing in that regard. And the entitlements are the major driver of spending for this country. If we can't reform them to save them, we're never going to get this debt and deficit under control.
It seems kind of ironic, the president yesterday talking about the troubles in the economy, saying that we're being dragged down by Europe. Well, Europe is dealing with being in debt.
He can blame Europe, he can blame Bush, but the fact is his policies haven't worked. I think his stimulus plan didn't work. Obamacare is a drag on the economy, the uncertainty he's placed in the marketplace. His energy policies, I mean, we have a great opportunity to create a lot of jobs and become energy independent, and yet he vetoes bills like the Keystone Pipeline. That really doesn't make sense, and that's something we want to change.
You know, we talked about jobs here. Certainly, this is a critical year, and a lot of focus will be placed on that very thing, on joblessness. Here in our area, certainly focusing on NASA. It's not been a very popular subject. So many of them actually feel betrayed because they are losing their jobs because of the downsizing, losing shuttles. I mean, any number of things here.
And I'm on the Space Subcommittee, Science and Technology, and I can tell you the morale at NASA now is very low. And now we have to basically let the Russians and the Chinese take the lead in human spaceflight. This is absolutely crazy. Not only in terms of exploration, but in terms of national security. If we allow Russia and China to take the lead and be superior in space, that has all sorts of ramifications in terms of national security.
Rick Santorum has certainly given Mitt Romney, as we change the subject once more to presidential politics, has given him a real run for his money here, and being supported, Rick Santorum that is, by people who really consider themselves to be very staunch conservatives. Do you think those staunch conservatives will rally behind Mitt Romney if he does, as expected, win the final nomination?
Well, I think if you talk to Santorum and Gingrich, they both say that they will rally behind whoever the nominee is. I think you're going to see, once the nominee comes forward, and I believe that Romney is sort of the presumptive nominee at this point, that you're going to see conservatives rally behind that person. And what we want is a person who can defeat Barack Obama. And whoever that is, I think you'll see conservatives line up behind him.
Congressman, thanks so much for joining us here this morning, coming all the way up here to the 9th floor.
Appreciate it.
It's nice to have you here where we can see you.
It's great to see you in person as well. Thank you.
Come back and do this again.
I will.
Congressman Mike McCall.